New York is continuing its battle against homemade firearms, and they accidentally put on a masterclass on how to make your own gun, and they are apparently working with big tech to go door to door. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What's up, Wolverines? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John Crump, and this is John Crump News, where we discuss 2A every day. Go ahead and sub to the channel. It helps with engagement, and it helps get my voice out there. Today, we are sponsored by our friends over at Gideon Optics. Gideon Optics makes some of the best optics at an affordable price. So why spend money on an optic where you can get a cheaper optic that is just as good? Go ahead and check out Gideon Optics, and for a limited time, you can use code CRUMPY and get 10% off and free shipping on all orders. As we all know, New York does not like privately manufactured firearms, as the ATF calls it. They call it PMFs. I call it unfinished frames and receivers. Other people call them firearm precursor parts. New York calls them ghost guns. What they are is basically homemade firearms. New York hates them. And now the state police is stepping up their actions against people who buy parts off of eBay. I've been working on this story for MLN News for about 3 or 4 weeks, gathering information. And what we've been able to determine is that people in the suburbs of New York City have been getting visited by the state police for buying parts off eBay. And we were trying to figure out how they are getting this information. We looked at all the different sellers, and it's all over the place. So it's probably not a specific seller turning over information. If you look at the list that are being provided by the people that are visiting people, you can tell that it is a breakdown of all their eBay purchases. So just not for gun parts, their eBay purchases for everything. So that leads me to believe that the source of the visits is most likely eBay cooperating with the New York State Police. What the New York State Police are doing is showing up at people's door. They will have 2 to 3 people go up to the door and speak with the owner of the house or the renter of the house about purchases being sent to that location. They will have another 9 to 12 guys stand around in the yard just looking bored. They will ask to see the parts and say, hey, we know what you have, so let's go ahead and see the parts. Let's go ahead and see your firearms. Now, everyone we spoke to told them to go pound sand and come back with a warrant, and they basically did. There was no threats of them actually coming back. There was actually being pretty nice. It was a very cordial interaction. So the police would take about 5 to 10 minutes and say, okay, and they will leave with no threat of coming back. Basically, it looks like this is an intimidation factor to buyers of gun parts in the Empire State. I'm going to link my article down below so you can read about it more. Like I said, it looks like it's the greater New York City area. I have not been able to find anyone outside of New York City that have these visits by the state police, but if you have, contact me. I would love to know. I also have not been able to find anyone in the 5 boroughs of the city that's been visited. It's been in Suffolk County, White Plains, Westchester, Nassau County. So it's been in the areas around New York, but not actually in the city itself. Now that brings me to the most hilarious part of this story. The NYPD Intelligence Division, yes, you will see why that's kind of an oxymoron right now if you look at what they put out. They put out a guide to identifying ghost guns. Basically, this was chock full of information on how to build ghost guns with a 3D printer or from a kit. It even lists the parts that you need in the places where you can go get those parts. It is a step-by-step instructional manual on how to build firearms, which is quite hilarious to me. They accidentally put out a guide to let people build firearms. It's the most comprehensive guide I've ever seen on the topic, but there is some misinformation in there. Some of the misinformation is that
it is illegal to have a firearm without a serial number. It says it is federally illegal to do that, which is definitely untrue. If you make your own PMF, you do not have to have a serial number on that. The new rule that the ATF put out is only dealing with dealers. You're not allowed to transfer a firearm from like an FFL to a person if it doesn't have a serial number, unless it's a polymer 80 because they do have an injunction. So they get that wrong. Also, they state that a AR-15 lower receiver is a firearm in the eyes of the ATF. They said federally an AR-15 lower receiver, 80% lower receiver is a firearm. That is false. If you look at the final rule by the ATF, it specifically states that lower receivers for AR-15s that are 80% and also AK flats are not firearms. They are not considered firearms. It does not fall into the same category as a polymer 80% frame. So they get that wrong there. So they're giving their cops a lot of bad information. So that can lead to arrest for things that aren't exactly illegal, which is very concerning, and that should be concerning to you guys too. One of the things that I find most hilarious about this document is that it shows a picture of the gun that was used to kill Abe, the guy in Japan, which was not made from a kit, not made from a 3D printer. It was made from crap from a hardware store. But they don't really give any context to that at all. They also list things like people who build firearms like cryptocurrency, which is kind of obvious because, hey, most people that build their own firearms are libertarian leaning, and cryptocurrency kind of plays into that libertarian mindset. There's a lot of people that are into cryptocurrency that do not build homemade firearms. The Winklevoss twins, for example, actually got into crypto very, very early, and they are still major players in the crypto scene. Now, those guys are the guys that my old boss, Mark Zuckerberg, stole the idea from Facebook from. I'm pretty sure that they're not at home making polymer 80s or printing off Strike Industry stuff on their printer. It's just not something that I see happening. They also said they're going to be working with Amazon and Micro Center, or attempting to work with Amazon and Micro Center, to find out who is buying 3D printers and 3D printing supplies, which is kind of scary because I would say 99.9% of the people that buy 3D printers and 3D printing supplies don't actually make firearms with them. I do. I'm sure Flying Rich does, DLD After Dark does, Invader Zip does, who is mentioned in the document, Tim Hoffman, who is mentioned in the document. They all do. But the majority of the people that buy 3D printers are not gun builders. I wish they were, but they're just not. So how many people are they going to look into that have nothing to do with firearms that buy printers from Micro Center or buy filament from Amazon? It is absolutely crazy. It is draconian, and it is a violation of everyone's privacy rights. If they do get a warrant, they're going to be looking for several different things, such as storage locker keys, which I'm not really sure of, 3D printers, micro SD cards, cell phones, packages, invoices, and prepaid credit cards. So that is what they're going to be looking for on their search warrant. I think this document needs to go viral. I think everyone needs to download it. This was sent out to a crap load of cops. I got it from a source in the NYPD, and then I got it from a lot of other people. So I asked him if he sent it to other people. And according to him, he only sent it to me. It is I'm not going to say anymore, but he only sent it to me. So that means a lot of other cops are thinking that this is ridiculous and leaking it to people. A lot of the people that were named in the document got the document emailed to them anonymously from probably people in the NYPD, which I think is Funny. That shows you that not all cops in NYPD are down with this whole ghost gun crackdown. And hopefully they won't use their power to infringe on other people's rights. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you for watching. Still got my headache, so I'm kind of out of it. So if I'm not making sense, that's why. But have a good weekend. Hopefully nothing breaks tonight because I just want to lay down and go to sleep after I take my kids to trunk or treat. Then we got trunk or treat again tomorrow, and it's going to be a busy weekend. But until then, stay ever vigilant, stay ever free, keep in the fight. There is another story I'm working on, but that's going to have to wait for another day. All right, guys, love you very much. Be sure to like this video. Liking the video is one way you can help me for free. If you want to help me monetarily, there is other things down below in the description. Plus, my new book is coming out on November 1st. You can pre-order the Kindle version right now, or if you want a paperback copy signed, you can contact me and I will hook you up. Or if you want a hardcover signed, I will hook you up as well. It'll be about $5 over cost, and that is just to cover shipping. The paperbacks will go out on Monday. If you want a hardcover, they will go out on November 1st. Unfortunately, there was an error in the printing of the hardcovers, so they had to reprint them all. So I will only get it about a day or two before it actually goes on sale. But I will get them signed, and I'll get them out to you as soon as possible. All right, guys. See you later. Wolverine's mother...